Please be seated. Presiding over today's ceremony, Philip Merrill College of Journalism's Dean, Lucy Dalglish.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see so many of you made it through that beltway traffic. Graduates of the class of May 2023, winter 2022, honored guests, faculty, staff, and parents and friends, welcome to the Philip Merrill College of Journalism commencement ceremony. My colleagues and I are proud to honor the women and men who have completed the requirements for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Master of Journalism, Master of Arts in Journalism, Certificate in Multimedia Journalism, and the Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. Please let me introduce you to the members of the platform party. When I call your name, please stand up, and when we get to the end of the row, please sit down so people can see the second row. And please hold your applause until the end. First, we have today's commencement speaker, Rachel Scott. Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dean Designate, and Director of the Master's Program, Rafael Lorente. Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Studies, Josh Madden. Professor Sarah Oates. Today's student commencement speaker, Damon Brooks, Jr. Merrill Lecturer, Director of Assessments, our graduate program director for the Multimedia Certificate Program, Christine Harvey. Associate Professor and Director of Merrill's doctoral program, Dr. Rob Wells. Professor Linda Steiner. Doctoral candidate Allison Burns. Doctoral candidate Carolina Vellosa. Doctoral candidate Carol Lee, doctoral candidate Shannon Scoville, and doctoral candidate Wei-Ping Lee. Could all be seated? In our second row, the Richard Eaton Chair of Broadcast Journalism, Professor Mark Feldstein, Associate Professor Ron Yaros, Assistant Professor Christoph Mergerson, Associate Professor Deneen Brown, Director of the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism, Kathy Best, Associate Professor Ira Chinoy, the Data Editor for the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism and Senior Lecturer, Sean Mussenden. The George Solomon Endowed Chair and Sports Journalism Director and the Director of the Shirley Povich Center for Sports Journalism, Professor of the Practice, Mike Hyman. Lecturer and Director of Capital News Services Digital Bureau, Adam Martin. Lecturer and Director of Capital News Services Audience Engagement Bureau, Alex Piles. Lecturer and Director of the Capital News Service Broadcast Bureau, Mel Coffey. Lecturer Tom Batag. Lecturer in Data and Computational Journalism, Derek Willis. And the Managing Director of the Capital News Service, Marty Kaiser. All right. All right, hold on. Where did we go? All right. Okay. In the third row, we have the Lecturer and Director of the Local News Network, Jerry Zremski. Professor of the Practice, Kevin Blackistone. Assistant Professor, Krishnan Vasudevan. Lecturer Alana Delfino Capagna. Chief Development Officer for External Relations, Katie Auney, and Assistant Dean. Assistant Dean of Business Operations, Vanessa Nichols Holmes. Adjunct Lecturer, Clarence Williams. Adjunct Lecturer Merrill E. Cox. Adjunct Lecturer Ann Rosen. Adjunct Lecturer Joe Yasharoff. Adjunct Lecturer Alex Flum. Adjunct Lecturer Linda Coleman. Senior Lecturer Josh Davidsburg. Oh, he's back there. And who have I missed back there? Oh, Capitol News Service, Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief Jim Carroll. And serving as our announcer, our alum and program coordinator for undergraduate recruitment, Brendan Hartlove. Okay. Please be seated, everyone, and we are absolutely delighted to have so many family members and friends here for today's commencement. Our graduates have worked hard and have made us very proud by producing outstanding award-winning journalism, creating their own startups, getting jobs in newsrooms across the country, and by participating in countless campus service projects. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate their accomplishments. This is a very special year for Merrill College. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary as a college and our 75th anniversary as a university degree program. You can probably tell from some of the cameras we have here that we are being live streamed this morning. This program will be available. You can go to our website later on and be linked to it. Every year, our graduating seniors choose a distinguished journalist they would most like to hear from at their commencement ceremony. I am honored today to introduce Rachel Scott. Rachel is the senior congressional correspondent for ABC News. She is a native of Southern California and a graduate of the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism at the University of Southern California. She has quickly emerged as one of the brightest stars in broadcast journalism, climbing all the way from beginning as a production associate at ABC in 2016. She is the winner of an Emmy Award, a Peabody Award, and 2 Edward R. Murrow Awards. And she reports from Capitol Hill across all ABC News programs and platforms. Rachel's reporting has been featured in several of ABC News' primetime specials for Juneteenth, the fall of Afghanistan, the State of the Union, and the inauguration of President Biden. She has been honored for her extensive coverage of the abortion issue and breaking news coverage following the death of George Floyd. Please join me in welcoming Rachel Scott.
Thank you, Dean Dalgish, for that wonderful introduction. Well, good morning, Merrill class of 2023. How we feeling? Yeah? Okay. It is such an honor to be with you on your special day. And I hear that I'm not the only journalist that you'll be hearing from today. I'm considering myself a warm-up for the remarkable Gayle King, who is the university's main commencement speaker. But don't let anybody fool you. Despite the respect and the admiration, we take ratings very seriously. So if you like this speech, my name is Rachel Scott from ABC News. And if you don't like this speech, my name is Gayle King from CBS. In all seriousness, today marks a new beginning. Not just for you graduates, but also for the Merrill College of Journalism. For your outgoing dean, Lucy Dalgish, who for over a decade has served as a guiding light, a mentor and advisor to the next generation of storytellers. To your incoming dean, Rafael Lorente, who is already hard at work redefining and reimagining the curriculum for the next generation of storytellers, the students that will soon follow in your very footsteps. A new beginning for your parents and guardians who have dreamed about this day long before you ever even applied to college. Partly because they're invested in your success, and partly because they want you off their cell phone bill. Parents, I got some real bad news for you. That family plan is really tough to get off of. Just ask my dad. A new beginning. For all the graduates who are sitting here today, who have felt counted out, underestimated, who at times questioned themselves and whether or not they belonged, who pushed through those late nights, those last-minute study sessions, that second semester internship. Yes, I'm looking at you guys. Well, guess what? Today you are graduating from one of the world's top journalism programs. When Tom Batag reached out to me about doing today's commencement address, I was thrilled. You see, I had spoken to a few of his classes, and so I knew firsthand what it meant to be Merrill made. It could be defined by the stories of the graduates in this room. Damon Brooks, a star basketball player who just 2 days before his 19th birthday was involved in a tragic accident that left him paralyzed. His professors told me that Damon pushed through the unthinkable with grit and with humor, and today is graduating from his dream school with a focus in sports journalism. Damon, your resilience is what it means to be Merrill made. And what about the students in the Annapolis Bureau of Capital News Service who built a bot that allows users to search and sort through thousands of bills pushed through by the Maryland General Assembly? That innovation, that ingenuity, that creativity is what it means to be Merrill made. You've all heard this time and time again, but being Merrill made is more than just a degree. It's a commitment to push for the truth, to press for answers, to dig for the stories that need to be told, and to fight to tell them with objectivity, clarity, and integrity. So let me just get out in front of it and address the elephant in the room. You may notice that I'm a lot younger than most commencement speakers. In fact, when I Googled what the average age of a commencement speaker was, it said most commencement speakers tend to be between 50 to 70 years old, reflecting, quote, their established careers and decades of experience. I just turned 30. I'm only 7 years into my career. In fact, in the bathroom, one of the parents here looked at me and said, "Congratulations." So this whole thing is becoming suddenly very awkward. A lot of times, we as young people think that we have to wait to reach a certain age to be notable, to share our experiences, to make an impact or have a seat at the table. We convince ourselves that the more time that passes, that somehow we become valued, that our worth is tied to our age, that the higher the double digits, the more we somehow have it all figured out. And I'm here to tell you today that you have everything you need right now to make a difference. You are the change that you have been hoping for. Your curiosity is what our generation has been waiting for. And your perspective is what the world has been yearning for. Believing this is easier said than done. Not too long ago, I was asked to travel for President Biden's first foreign trip. I was a new correspondent, and this assignment was going to give me the opportunity to learn from the more senior members on the team. We made our way to Geneva, Switzerland, where President Biden would be coming face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And that's when we found out the two leaders would be holding two separate press conferences in two separate locations, and so our chief correspondent was not going to be able to cover both. So 48 hours out, they decided to send me. My assignment, President Putin's press conference. It was a high-stakes meeting, but let's be real, the stakes for me were actually pretty low. No one expected a man who would soon bring war onto the world, who had severely cracked down on freedom of speech, who had resisted efforts for a free and fair democracy, to suddenly call on the Western American journalists in the room. But President Putin did. And while Russian journalists asked about the sports games, I asked why all of his political rivals were dead, in prison, or poisoned. "What are you so afraid of?" I said. And when he didn't answer my question, I then followed up, asking if he was sending a message that he didn't want a free and fair political fight. In the weeks and the months that followed, I received letters and messages from all over the world. Someone named Kelsey, who told me that my question to President Putin reminded her that she can ask tough questions as a woman in the courtroom. To Siobhan in Ireland, who told me, "If you think your message is not reaching the masses, I am proof that it is." There were the students in Geneva who gathered outside of my hotel room shouting freedom of the press. And then there were messages like this. People asking, how did a 20-something Black American get in the room with Russian President Vladimir Putin? And I gotta be honest, it was a question that I asked myself. Even as the world watched an American journalist confront one of the most dangerous leaders of our time, when I walked into that room, I not only realized that I appeared to be the only American in the room, that I also appeared to be the youngest. I questioned whether or not I deserved to be there, if I should sit in the front row, how high I should raise my hand. I learned a valuable lesson that day, that our time is much better spent asking the tough questions than it is questioning our right to be in the room. That having courage doesn't mean that you're not scared to do it. It often means just recognizing that the only thing worse than the weight of fear is the burden of regret. That being confident doesn't mean that you don't doubt yourself. It just means not letting self-doubt drive your decision-making. And that being the youngest in the room doesn't mean that you need to wait your turn. It means that you are right on time. You belong anywhere where you want to be. And the truth is, you all don't have the luxury of doubting yourself because plenty of people are going to do that for you along the way. There will be some that will doubt whether or not you can make it in this job. There will be others that doubt the field of journalism entirely. Just weeks before graduating, I turned down a job in Fayetteville, Arkansas, doing exactly what I wanted to do, being an on-air correspondent. I instead decided to move to the most expensive city in the world, New York, starting at the bottom of the ladder as a production associate, where my main responsibilities would be making coffee and making copies. When I called the news director in Arkansas to let her know that I would not be taking the position, she was very blunt. She told me I was making the biggest mistake of my early career and that I would be calling her in a year, begging her for a job. And while I was determined to prove her wrong, it would take years, let me tell you. Overnights, weekends, failing over and over again. And there were some moments where I actually thought that she was right. Graduates, at some point in your career, someone will be disappointed with the choice that you are making. But why does it have to be you? Let my story serve as proof that what may feel risky, what might feel uncomfortable, new and intimidating, might actually be exactly what you need. Don't fall into the comparison trap. Your path will most certainly look a lot different than the graduate that's sitting next to you today. And if your vision is so clouded by what everybody else is doing, I can guarantee you that you'll miss the opportunities that are right in front of you. And one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got was this. In your first job, it matters less where you work, and it matters more who you work for. Find the people that see your voice as an asset, who value your presence, who will listen to your stories, and even tell you when your work sucks, because at times it will suck. But find the people who will tell you what you did wrong and give you another opportunity to make it right. I'll end with one last story. Diane Sawyer has always said that journalism is the business of changing the world. And not everybody will agree with that. I once spoke at a conference back in California, and I shared her words directly. Journalism is the business of changing the world. At the end of our talk, it was time to take questions, and a man got up, and he told me that I was wrong. He said, journalism is not the business of changing the world. You're not a doctor. You're not going to cure cancer. You are entering a field at a time when the very work that we do is being challenged, where the truth and trust in our democracy is being tested. My first day covering Capitol Hill as the incoming congressional correspondent was January 6th. The first 100 hours of the beat was filled with chaos and violence. I reported live from the moment the rioters broke in, trying to navigate my way around a building that I hardly knew. Our commitment that day, and every day as journalists, is a commitment to the truth. So as I look at you all on your graduation day, I hope you feel that obligation. I hope you feel a burden to speak truth to power, a responsibility to search for accountability and get it right. I hope you find the stories that keep you up at night, that you just want to get to the bottom of. And when you find yourself in that room with that world leader, I hope you feel that nervousness in the pit of your stomach, and I hope you ask your question anyway. 7 years ago, I sat in a room just like this one, with a cap and gown, and I listened to a commencement speaker telling me that I was about to start the most important journey of my life. If you take anything from my words today, I hope you know that that is true. And I am so excited to see where your journey takes you. Congratulations, graduates.
There are no shelves under here, so.
Dr. Rob Wells, the director of our doctoral program, assists Dean Dalglish in presenting today's doctoral degree candidates, along with the faculty representative from the Students Committee, Dr. Linda Steiner.
Over there? Okay, sure, go ahead.
Carolina Veloso has successfully completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Journalism Studies. It is my privilege to present Carolina Veloso before Dean Dalglish and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with a doctoral hood reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dean Dalglish, in accordance with the recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Veloso for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
Thank you. I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I'm honored to welcome Carolina Veloso to the ranks of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university. I know. I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, okay.
Let's just.
I've had the pleasure of working with Carolina Veloso in a variety of ways, from supervising her MA thesis to co-authoring a couple of book chapters. I've watched her emerge as the acknowledged leader and first author of a prize-winning group project that went on to be published. And this is a small part of her CV. Carolina already has 12 publications, and her dissertation is sure to generate more. Carolina's dissertation looks at how journalists' embodied identities and experiences are transforming journalism, how journalists are articulating new arguments about the place of their identity in terms of race, class, and gender in their work, and how they're increasingly willing to argue that journalists should be able to lean into their identities. She examined the specific justifications that they offer for this position and what they say they ought to do when reporting problems of a community that they actually don't have a relevant identity or experience. Now Carolina is going off to the Hubbard School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Minnesota as a presidential postdoctoral fellow. And that will lead to a job on the tenure track in 2 years. Some people suspect that what we like to do as PhD advisors is produce clones of ourselves. That is not the case. We love to work with PhD students because we learn from them, and I look forward to continuing to learn from Dr. Veloso. I'd like to introduce Allison Burns, who has managed the incredible. Allison came to Merrill as an adjunct and entered our master's program with a broadcast news career, mostly as a Washington correspondent for the Cox Media Group. But she was quickly encouraged to transfer into the PhD program. And then she became the director of the College Park Scholars Program, Media, Self, and Society. She continues to teach for the college and do freelance TV news production. I admit, I occasionally wondered about the wisdom of combining this major dissertation work with a punishingly hard job that required intense contact with students and also continuing with highly active parenting with her husband right there and her 2 sons. But she did it. Allison has been selected as a Do-Good Faculty Fellow to develop service learning programs. She won a Making a Difference Award for creating a class that partnered journalism students with middle students, and she won an Outstanding Mentor Award. And these activities are relevant to her dissertation, which examines the perspectives of journalism faculty members who have developed innovative experiential learning collaborations. It sounds idealistic, and Allison is nothing if not idealistic, but a dozen journalism faculty members, and this is highly unusual, showed up at her dissertation to hear defense, to hear about the practical, pedagogical implications of her research on collaborative journalism. And we look forward at Merrill being highly invested in collaboration, in seeing how she leads these efforts going forward.
Okay.
Allison Burns has successfully completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Journalism Studies. It is my privilege to present Allison Burns before Dean Dalglish and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with a doctoral hood reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dean Dalglish, in accordance with a recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Burns for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I'm honored to welcome Allison Burns to the ranks of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university.
Dr. Rob Wells will now assist Dean Dalglish in presenting today's doctoral degree candidates, along with the faculty representative from the Students Committee, Dr. Sarah Oates.
Okay, so we're going to tell you about these next wonderful 3 candidates, one at a time. So, have you ever wondered if you were reading foreign propaganda instead of news? How much would it matter, and could you avoid doing this? This is at the heart of the dissertation written by Wei-Ping Lee. Dr. Lee's dissertation was entitled, "When Global Conspiracy Theories Become Local Propaganda, the Influence of China and U.S. Right-Wing COVID-19 Narratives on Taiwan." Dr. Lee identified and then coded, many, many times, I think, key themes in how the Chinese government framed COVID conspiracy theories and then analyzed news stories in Taiwan to see if they echoed those conspiracies. The good news is that Dr. Lee's analysis found that deep suspicion of Chinese propaganda in Taiwanese media did inoculate it from Chinese conspiracy theories for the most part. The bad news is that her research showed the challenges of a democratic media in Taiwan, notably a lack of funding, meant that the Taiwanese media sometimes relied on American propaganda websites and echoed their COVID disinformation. Well, what Dr. Lee found is that while ideology can guard you against foreign propaganda, the challenges of maintaining a free media in a democracy create spaces for disinformation sources to get amplified anyway. So completing a doctoral degree is a monumental achievement. But that wasn't enough for Wei-Ping. That would have been for quitters. So she decided to have a child while doing this. I did this too, so I know this shows great resilience or insanity. I'm not really sure which. But her dissertation joins Alyssa and Leo as great works, just as a different type, and I'm sure her husband Tony welcomes this new child with great joy. I know that in the near future, Wei-Ping will bring her outstanding skills as a theorist, a researcher, and a writer to help develop new ways to counter foreign propaganda and strengthen our democratic media.
That way.
Forgot the official part, sorry. Okay, it is my privilege to present Wei-Ping Lee before Dean Dalglish and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with a doctoral hood reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dean Dalglish, in accordance with the recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Lee for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I'm honored to welcome Wei-Ping Lee to the ranks of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university.
You wait forever for great PhD students, and then you have 3 at once. So next, I'm going to, if I can find the pages, talk about Shannon Scovel. Okay, I wrote a great speech, so I'm just going to take a second to find it here. Aha. This one has bikinis in it. Okay. An introduction to the work of Shannon Scovel would start with a photo of a young woman posed in a pink bikini in front of a door. This iconic photo of college gymnast Olivia Dunn could be a symbol of the continuing sexualization of women, or it could demonstrate self-empowerment. It could show that nothing has changed as student athletes have gained the power to profit from their own brands, or it could signal that everything has changed. These questions are at the center of Dr. Scovel's work, and she successfully defended her dissertation entitled Name, Image, and Likeness, a content analysis of how women student athletes share their stories and lived experiences on social media in the age of NIL. Dr. Scovel's dissertation analyzed tens of thousands of social media posts. She's getting paid to do this, people, to find out how women chose to use their voices and define their public image on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok in the first year they could monetize their brand. This dissertation engaged with ongoing questions and research about women, sport, and media. Namely, could online engagement in some way balance the ways in which women athletes are marginalized in the mainstream media? What Dr. Scoville's research shows is that while women online could often reproduce hegemonic norms about what women could and should be, many student women athletes also use these platforms to push back against sexist stereotypes and advocate for social justice. So things are changing, but at the same time, expect more pink bikinis. So Shannon brought her self-discipline and hard work as an NCAA athlete to her work as a graduate student, and I can genuinely say she was a joy to teach. They were all joys to teach, really. I do remain puzzled as to how someone from North Carolina can claim to neither favor Duke nor UNC, and I remain suspicious. However, I am convinced that Shannon is one of the most passionate Terp supporters I've ever taught, and in a few short weeks, she'll take up a post as assistant professor in sport communication at the University of Tennessee. And Tennessee won a very spirited competition among a couple of universities to hire her. I know her parents, Kurt and Catherine, are here, and they were Maryland student athletes, and I know they're proud that Shannon is earning a doctoral degree, but I think they might be even prouder that now she's finally a Terp. Shannon Scoville has successfully completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Journalism Studies. It is my privilege to present Shannon Scoville before Dean Dalglish and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with the doctoral hood, reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dean Dalglish, in accordance with the recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Scoville for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I'm honored to welcome Shannon Scoville to the rank of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university.
Oh no, not her again. Okay. Last but not least, and I'm probably going to cry on this one. When Carol Lee graduated with a master's degree in divinity, she noticed something odd about the way newspapers cover religion on the campaign trail. It seemed as if there was some sort of God gap, where journalists often reported on Republican candidates and their faith, but Democrats got covered only when there was a controversy involving religion. Yet candidates from both sides were talking about their faith. Dr. Lee, who successfully defended her dissertation, Minding the God Gap in Presidential Campaigns, How the Media Failed to Cover Faith in 2012 and 2016, carefully analyzed the coverage of religion in presidential campaigns in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and USA Today. Indeed, Dr. Lee did find a marked difference in how the media treated Republicans and Democrats, as they reported much more extensively on Republican candidates and their faith and their religious identities. Dr. Lee's research suggests that journalists could improve this narrow coverage of faith and the important role it plays not just in campaigns, but in the lives of so many Americans. The media should create better coverage to reflect on the relationship among faith, politics, and our society in ways that can improve voters' understanding of religious pluralism as a founding American ideal. You know, on the one hand, I think it's wonderful that two scholars, one a woman of deep and committed faith and another a badly lapsed Episcopalian, could work together on this endeavor. Carol taught me so much about the meaning of faith. It is much more impressive that a Duke fan and a UNC fan could work together. Carol has really taught me about grace and how to be a better person, and we always turn to our common Terp identity. I know that her husband, Lansing III, is proud to be here today, and that her son, Lansing IV, she numbers the men in her life, which I think is good, is very proud of his mom today. Carol will continue as a lecturer at Merrill, as well as project coordinator at the Accrediting Council on Education and Journalism and Mass Communications, and it's right here on campus. And Carol, I already miss you as a wonderful PhD advisee, but so happy you're still here in Knight Hall. Okay. Carol Lee has successfully completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Journalism Studies. It is my privilege to present Carol Lee before Dean Douglas and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with a doctoral hood reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. I'm getting better at this. Dean Douglas, in accordance with the recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Lee for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I am honored to welcome Carol Lee to the ranks of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university.
Associate Dean Rafael Lorente and Chris Harvey will now present the master's degree candidates. Each candidate will receive a lithograph and congratulations from Dean Douglas.
Will those candidates who are here to receive master's degrees from the Philip Merrill College of Journalism please rise and approach the microphone? In accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the college, please recognize these candidates who have successfully completed all requirements for the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Journalism. Natalia Rostova. Catherine Seltzer. Hunter Savory. Destiny Herbers. Stephen Newcomb. Nicholas Doyle. Valeria Isabel González Montero. Markayla Lee Brooks. Deanna Gabriel Giles. Michael Charles. John Meltzer. John Little. Tinashe Chingarande. Ian Decker. John Ariel Endiso. Elaine Povich. John Barelick. Victoria Ifatusin. Marianelli de Leon. Maitli de Baraconda. Emmett Gartner. Timothy Elijah DeShield.
Assistant Dean Josh Madden and Allison Burns will now present the undergraduate degree candidates. Each candidate will receive a lithograph and congratulations from Dean Dalglish.
Will all undergraduate degree candidates please step forward? In accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism, please recognize these candidates for a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. Natalie Adams. Nene Narmensa. Matthew Harradine. Austin Cole. Kiros Morales. Taylor McLaughlin. Joshua Kaplan. Samuel Ostree. Daniel Zika. Kevin McNulty. Dylan Schulman. Shane Connick. Alice Carlson. Dorothy Hood. Courtney Cohn. Abigail Russ. Alessandra Adams. Molly Williams. Julia Eisen. Nina Branwell. Grace Capetamy. Jack Bloomfield. Hope Khan. Devin Milley. Noah Ferguson. Rena Tova Torchinsky. Kyle Russo. Logan Hill. Molly Zapman. Ross O'Keefe. Sam Draddy. Maddie Peak. Julia Bischoff. Megan Barnes. Matthew Wynn. Nolan Clancy. Julian Bassena. Michelle Levine. CJ Lawrence. Dorval Bedford. Amanda Hernandez. Ryan White. Mira Varghese. Jacqueline DeBartolomeo. Esther Francis. Victoria Vandergriff. Jamie Breeden. Shreya Worthaluru. Eric Nugaborin. Ella Sherman. Gabrielle Lewis. Gracie Tanner. Lane Napoli. Haley Mae Kirby. Jessica Taylor Umbro. Ben Baruch. Jason Belt. Braden Hamlin. Delaney Engel. Hannah Ruth Wallace. Julia Catherine Morlino. Amadea Jamie Oberg. Melinda Thompson. Madison Wells James. Evan Michael Hecht. Aisha Solomon. Chaylee Jacoby. Ho-Jung Roo. Winter Hagen Hawk. Paige Mazes. Maxine Rose Friedman. Barbara Nicole Ranjaran. Caroline Grace Klecka. Evelyn Booth. Aaron Harper. Kylie Mills. Kennedy Miller. Devin Rank. Sydney Singletary. Logan Lowenstein. Nicole Blanchard. Madeline Herron. Joelle Anselmo. Cameron Jones. Jonathan Schmelis. Hannah Zakharenko. Vincent Petroni. Meredith Luter. Damon Brooks Jr.
All right. Please be seated. It is an ancient university tradition to give an outstanding graduate selected by our undergraduate class the opportunity to address the commencement assembly on behalf of fellow students. This year, they have selected Damon Brooks Jr. Damon is a senior journalism major from Tacoma Park, Maryland. I'll let Damon share more about his story, but he is one of the most inspiring people I have ever met. He sets an example for all of us in perseverance and determination to succeed, and we're going to miss seeing him every day in Knight Hall. Damon interned last summer with the USA Today Sports Department and will intern with the Washington Post this coming summer as part of the Sports Journalism Institute's class of 2023. On campus, he covered the Terps women's basketball team and field hockey teams for the Testudo Times. Damon has forged his way to a bright future in this industry, and our whole community is fortunate to have had the opportunity to hear from him today. Please join me in welcoming Damon Brooks Jr.
Good morning. I've seen hundreds of you around campus, and you're probably wondering, what led to him being in a wheelchair. Well, today I'm going to talk to you all about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Like Rachel Scott said earlier, 2 days before my 19th birthday, I was involved in a wrestling accident where I was slammed on my neck in my college dorm room that left me paralyzed from the waist down. I'm not telling you that for sympathy or sorrow. It was just my form of life-changing adversity. This was my introduction to being uncomfortable. I spent the past 11 years working on getting out of this chair while also developing a love for journalism. While I lost my mobility, I found something. I found my voice. Although I couldn't play basketball anymore, which I had done on my college's team, I knew I wanted to stay close to the game while also remain a part of a team. Journalism has afforded me the ability to stay involved and do two things that I have a great passion for, which is writing and sports. I've made lifelong friends and mentors at Merrill who have been encouraging, supportive in my journey to become a sports journalist. Through my encounter with adversity, I have learned valuable lessons that have driven me to this special day with all of my outstanding classmates. Sometimes you can't control what knocks you down in life. Staying down is a choice. But what we can control is our attitude, our impact on others, and our ability to keep pressing forward despite the circumstances. Life's not easy for me, not easy for you, not for anyone. There were instances at Merrill where school seemed overwhelming at times. When Merrill says they train fearless journalists, oh, they mean it. They create a newsroom vibe that forces students out of their comfort zone to get acclimated to this new setting. Once you're comfortable being uncomfortable at Maryland, that's when you'll grow as a journalist and as a person. You'll develop skills in interviewing, writing, producing, photography, or any other form of journalism that you may desire. At Merrill, you are taught to be factual and to report the truth. And if you don't oblige, you'll get a Merrill F. Trust me. Like my classmates, we all strive to make the requisite improvements to live up to Maryland standards. The first time I took a course at Merrill was during COVID, and that's when I knew this wasn't an ordinary school. Classes were held virtually as schools was closed at this point. It was a difficult adjustment period for students and professors, but we all made it work together. They challenged you from home as if you were in person. Professors were adamant you had your camera on when you were barely awake for class. They wanted us to participate even first thing in the morning. And when I think of that, I found a lesson in that. Things are going to happen in life that we just can't control, we cannot foresee. But you must move forward and adjust as best as possible. The students at Merrill are the reason why I'm here today. Their support and kindness has been instrumental in my journey as a Terp. I would be remiss if I didn't thank everyone who's been instrumental in my journey. I want to thank my mom, my maternal and paternal grandparents, my entire family, my Kennedy Krieger family, Lucy Dalglish, Raphael Lorente, Mark Hyman, Clarence Williams, Ann Rosen, Kevin Blackstone, Caitlin Wilson, Bobby Foster, Derek Willis, Deneen Brown, Sarah Oates, Natalie Cosner, Vanessa Nichols Holmes, Maria Lee, Liz Feldman, Liz Wasden, Missy Mahark in the field hockey program, and Brenda Fries in the women's basketball program. To my graduating class, I want to say I'm honored to be graduating with you, and I want to be the first to say congratulations, because we did it. So don't forget, when life knocks you down, don't lie down. Get back up the best way you can. Terps for life.
While all of our students work hard to earn their degrees, there are a few who deserve special recognition because of their accomplishments. In your program, you'll find the names of this year's award recipients, as recommended by members of our faculty.
Sean Mussenden will now recognize our outstanding undergraduate student for this commencement.
All right, would Shreya Vudaluru please come up to the stage? It's a long walk. I'm going to say some nice things about you now. Shreya is a gifted investigative reporter, an excellent writer and editor. But what sets her apart is her ability to find newsworthy patterns using data analysis. It's a process we like to call interviewing the data. She's also a software developer who builds tools to help her reporting colleagues and the public make sense of complex data. Her data journalism toolkit and reporting skills allowed her to make foundational contributions to 3 projects published by the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism, which is a reporting unit housed at the Merrill College that trains the next generation of investigative reporters. Working with Howard Center colleagues, she reported stories showing how white-owned newspapers incited racial terror lynchings. For another project, she did geospatial analysis that revealed deep inequities in the customer base for state lotteries. The third project, an ongoing data-driven investigation with the Associated Press, is about something we're not allowed to talk about yet, but if you come back next year, we will tell you all about it. So while in college, Shreya did data journalism internships at the Dallas Morning News and the Baltimore Banner. She also worked for the Diamondback, the student-run campus news organization, ending her career there as code data editor. At the Diamondback, she led an investigative series that required her and 20 of her colleagues to painstakingly catalog problems with University of Maryland buildings that made life harder for students with disabilities. Here's the detail from that reporting effort that I love. to find out if automated door opening buttons that many students with disabilities depend on, she and her colleagues walked around campus and tested more than 100 of them over a 3-week period. It was just one small part of a very big project. A Washington Post journalist, Teresa Vargas, wrote a column praising the Diamondback for that series, which I can assure you is not something that happens every day. Vargas noted that too few journalists seek to deeply understand the lived experience of people with disabilities. Vargas wrote, and I quote, "What those student journalists found is important, but arguably more important is this: they made a point to look." After graduation, Shreya is going to work as a data journalist on the investigations team at the Tampa Bay Times. That investigative team is one of the best in the country and have won 2 Pulitzer Prizes for investigative stories over the last 3 years. It's a big job for somebody right out of the school, but Shreya, we know you're going to kill it. Please join me in congratulating Shreya, our outstanding master's graduate.
Associate Dean Rafael Lorente will now recognize our outstanding master's students for this commencement.
Me again. Would Deanna Giles and Eve Sampson is not here today, but Deanna Giles and Eve Sampson are our 2 outstanding master's students. So every year, I send our faculty who teach the master's students a note, and I ask them, which one? Which one do we pick? And every year they make it really, really hard. They struggle to find names, they go back and forth, and I have to tally up a spreadsheet and make a decision. And this year we chose a broadcast student in Deanna and a multi-platform student in Eve. Eve is traveling, couldn't be here. Eve came to us after a degree from West Point and a stint in Syria supporting U.S. troops in Syria. Deanna came to us in September of 2021. She actually graduated last December. Like many of the students who come to our master's program, she had an English degree and something else I don't remember. She came from Minnesota. And she was immediately a star. From the very beginning, the faculty who teach the reporting classes early on said, you gotta watch that one. So she is now a multimedia journalist and anchor, and I think I'm gonna get the call letters right, it's WILX in Michigan, and she's doing really, really well. So please, one more applause for Deanna and for Eve.
Chris Harvey will now recognize this commencement's Kappa Tau Alpha awardees and top KTA awardee.
Kappa Tau Alpha was founded in 1910 at the University of Missouri. It's the nationally recognized honor society for those pursuing scholarship at a university in the fields of journalism and mass communication. The University of Merrill chapter, established in 1961, has been recognizing the academic excellence of our students for 62 years. Each year, our chapter recognizes students who have performed outstanding academically. The following 4 students have agreed to be recognized today for their achievement, earning grade point averages ranging from 3.9 to 4.0, with 4.0 being the highest that anyone could possibly score. Will the following new members please come to the stage to receive your Kappa Tau Alpha certificate? And please remain on stage after you get your certificate so that we can get a picture of you. Hope Adina Khan. Go over there, line up right over there. Molly Leah Zatman. Benjamin Baruch. And last but not least, Rena Torchinsky. Please join me in applauding these hardworking students. And at this time, everyone except for Rena can go ahead and sit down. Rena, you need to stay up here. So the college is now recognizing Rena as Kappa Tau Alpha's top award winner. You might have guessed it. She earned a grade point average of 4.0. And she took advantage of numerous internships and immersion courses while she was here at Merrill College, including as a data journalist for the Howard Center for Investigative Journalism, as an economics reporting intern at the Wall Street Journal, and a digital news reporter at National Public Radio. Rena says she's heading in June to a temporary job as a data reporter at Forbes, and they're really, really lucky to get her. Please accept this plaque in recognition of your amazing work from the college. Thank you. On June 28, 2018, a gunman armed with an automatic shotgun assassinated 5 members of the staff at the Annapolis Capital-Gazette newspaper. Merrill College and the Capital-Gazette have had very long and close ties. Philip Merrill, for whom our college is named, was the longtime owner of the newspaper. Many of our alumni have started their careers at Annapolis. 3 of the murdered people had special ties to Merrill College. Editorial writer Gerald Fishman graduated from Merrill in 1979. Sports journalist John McNamara graduated in 1983. Editor, reporter, and columnist Rob Hyacin was an adjunct lecturer who taught reporting at Merrill College. To honor the Capitol Gazette victims, the college has created 3 awards. The Gerald Fishman Award for News Commentary and Criticism honors Gerald Fishman, who was a thoughtful, tenacious opinion writer whose commentary on the Capitol Gazette's opinion pages year after year helped clarify issues for Annapolis citizens for decades. The Fishman Award goes to Mira Alexandra Komeling-Varghese, a graduating senior. Mira won for her commentary, The Mechanics of Non-English Political Disinformation in the United States. Mira, can you join me up here? The John McNamara Sports Writing Award honors one of Maryland's most beloved sports writers, John McNamara, who is remembered especially for his coverage of Terps basketball. The winner of the McNamara Writing Award goes to Samuel Chaim Austri, a graduating senior. Samuel won for his piece, Tennis Star Francis Tiafoe Makes College Proud with an Historic U.S. Open Run. Sam? And the Rob Hyacinth Adjunct Faculty Award recognizes the role our adjunct lecturers, most of whom have full-time jobs in newsrooms and universities across the region. It recognizes the roles they play preparing our students to be journalists. This year's Rob Hyacinth Adjunct Faculty Award goes to Linda Coleman. Linda is an associate professor of English classics who is retiring this semester from the university. Since 2005, Dr. Coleman has used her expertise in the linguistic analysis of discourse to set a grammar foundation for our first-year journalism students. The lucky students who are not exempted from the class get to enjoy her unparalleled sense of humor and her passion for misplaced modifiers, parallel structure, and subject-verb agreement. Linda's work helped our students strengthen their grammar and has allowed them to flourish in an ever more complex writing and reporting classes. And she has improved their communication skills for life. This is from one of her teaching assistants. Dr. Coleman's books that nearly spilled off the shelves in her Zoom background begat rich literary examples peppered through dense grammar rules. She would riff on her own lectures, calling up 16th century trivia in concert with contemporary gender identity politics and the evolution of the American English. If you really want to know how all of that fits together, let alone into a grammar for journalists course, now you'll just have to ask one of her TAs who saw this brilliance semester after semester. Dr. Coleman's TAs became better writers, teachers, students, and scholars under her mentorship. They owe her and they thank her. And we thank you as well, Linda. Please join me here at the podium. Oh.
I have been asked on behalf of the faculty to give a farewell gift to our dean, who is stepping down after 11 incredible years. I'll keep this very short. I'm usually not at a loss for words, as anyone here will attest, but all I could think about in saying goodbye to Lucy was A, I didn't want to, B, never give up, never surrender, a phrase from one of my favorite silly science fiction movies. And Lucy, you just never gave up, you never surrendered, you always fought for us, for the college. You leave us so much a stronger place, but also just you've built an incredible team, an incredible spirit. And the only other thing I could think of was a Scottish song or poem for Auld Lang Syne. And Lucy will be taking a very well-deserved sabbatical and then coming back to us as a professor. And I thought, you know, for Auld Lang Syne, for friendship's sake, we will miss you, but we also look forward to you coming home again. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything, Lucy.
Thank you so much. Now, a couple things before we go. First, thank you to Sarat Barada and Natalie Kosner for their hard work behind the scenes managing our ceremony. Thank you also to broadcast lecturer Nathan Stevens and communications manager Josh Land, who worked with our students Eddie Rizkala, Jenna Bloom, and Jan Lapira to provide today's live streaming. Now, to our graduates. You are my last graduating class. And this morning's commencement is bittersweet. But I speak for everyone on this platform. You are our pride and joy. We have so enjoyed watching you learn and grow through an unimaginable pandemic that started when most of you were freshmen. While you were here, you were considerate to your classmates and your teachers. You followed the university's rules about masking and COVID testing. You showed incredible grace under pressure. We know you will walk out the door today and make us even more proud. We already know you work hard, you care about the world around you, you engage in journalism ethically and legally. You are the best advertisements for Merrill College that we could ever hope for. Thank you, and thank your families so much for trusting us with your education. You will be hearing from us in the future, so I hope you attend reunions. I hope you help us with graduate surveys. And I hope you respond to the call from us when we need help with another spectacular high school student just like you who needs to hear a little bit of encouragement from a successful alum before they commit to Merrill College. If you're able, please contribute to our scholarship drives. Many of you have benefited from scholarship donations from alumni. It will be your chance to give back. And helping others feels really, really good. Tonight, when I call on your class to stand and be recognized at the stadium, you need to stand up. You can stand on your chairs if you want to, and make lots and lots and lots of noise and show everybody that you are Merrill made. You know, all college graduates go into a big, scary, complicated world where they are exposed to new ideas, new cultures, and plenty of jerks. Sometimes you will just want to feel safe from it all. That is very, very normal. There has been more than the usual unrest on campuses and in the public square. War is raging in Ukraine. The national debate over diversity, equity, and inclusion programs is very disheartening. Every time there is a report of another school or campus shooting, we are all very, very distressed. But you know what journalism is all about. Telling stories about human experiences that may be different from our own. Experiences and beliefs that might offend you, might frighten you, might provoke you, might inspire you. Hang in there. At Merrill College, you learned that for a democracy to thrive, views must be shared, voices must be heard, consensus must be reached. We are all in this together. So work hard, follow your inner ethical compass, value teamwork, and follow the words of one of my favorite country music singers, Tim McGraw. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. So we'll see you tonight at the stadium.
Will everyone please rise for the recessional? Please remain standing during the recessional until the platform party and students have filed out. Then follow the recession out of the armory. Thank you, have a great day, and congratulations, Merrill College graduates!